Hey everybody, what's up? It's ThatAsianJohn. I'm bringing you guys episode 2, part 1. Now, here's a website. It's called newegg.com, www.newegg.com. And it sells computer parts, electronics, cameras, most of your basic electronics, and some house products. Like right here, you can see jewelry, watch, but they sell a good variety of stuff, and I like this website. It has good deals and everything, but to get to the point, the part 1 of this episode is to talk about how to build a computer based off of budget and hardware compatibility. Now, I recommend you guys save up the money. Buying a computer, you shouldn't wait to buy one. Once you have the money, go ahead and buy it. New stuff's gonna always come out, but the new stuff's not gonna completely overtake the old stuff in terms of speed or anything. Normally it's about 2 generations of technologies or series that comes out before your stuff starts getting outdated. So like the i7, it went from the 2000 series to the 3000 series. I have a 2700K. It might be till the 4000 series come out that I should really consider buying new stuff. But in terms of compatibility now, you guys have to worry about what you buy. I normally start buying my stuff through a little bit of a kind of like a sequence I've made. I go from the CPU to the motherboard. Once I have the motherboard, I go on to the case. Then once I have the case, once you have the motherboard, you can really just go in any order from there on, from case to graphics card to sound card to PCI Express accessory cards to data, disk drives, and monitors, power supplies. But normally you want to pick your CPU you want first, then pick the motherboard that's compatible, and that's the sequence I like. You might have a different sequence. Now, in terms of budget, depending on the money you have, you can buy good computers. On this website, they have something called right here, DIY PC combos. Now, if you would go in this section, they have my internet's a little slow right now. I have no clue why, but while we wait for that to load, they have a section where there's like pre-built kits. These kits are relatively good for 300. You can get a kit with SSD, a nice case that has good style. You can get it with 8 gigabytes of RAM too, but you go into all DIY PC combos, and this is of course if you're building one. Now right here you want to make sure it has a hard drive, motherboard, case, CPU, RAM, and power supply. For like this build right here, I believe it has a power supply right there, but this is like a full build. You can go ahead and buy one of these if you're okay with what's in it. I myself like complete full custom. See, this has everything you need. There's your hard drive, memory, case, motherboard, CPU, and power supply. That's all you need. Video cards are optional, of course. Now, like I was saying with compatibility, your CPU, there's different brands and types. There's of course Intel and AMD. You guys, that's preference, okay? I prefer Intel, but preference comes down to you guys. AMD normally has a little bit of cheaper price too, but once you pick the processor you want, you'll get a socket type. Now that socket type will determine what kind of motherboard you can get. Let's say you get this Ivy Bridge right here. It says LGA 1155. That means you go to the motherboard section and you need a motherboard that supports the socket type. Because with different socket types, let's say you just have different brand from Intel to AMD, those are not gonna fit. You can't put an Intel straight into an AMD unless they have some sort of compatibility and it states that. But once you have to make sure the motherboard fits that right brand, and once it fits a brand, socket type. As generations come out, they change the number of pins, the size of everything, and Yes, I know it's a little slow, I apologize, but you want to make sure that, like, for instance, the CPU I showed you, the LGA1155, you want to make sure you have a motherboard that says socket type LGA1155. Once you know that, all the motherboards in your selection have that, and you can start looking at what kind of motherboard you have. Now, there's different options. Let's say with a motherboard, you want to be able to handle 16 gigs of RAM, disk drive, and 2 hard drives, one being an SSD and one being a mechanical platter style hard drive. And you also want to have a graphics card. You're going to need at least one PCI Express and 3 SATA ports. So you guys got to look at the specifications. While I try and get this to load, for some reason it's not loading too well. While I work on all this loading stuff, give me a second. Sorry guys. Right here, this is where you pick the brand. You have Intel motherboards. While that loads, I think the website's just under heavy load right now. I don't think it's my connection because it's directing me to an IP for the website. Alright, like I said, socket type right here, LGA1155. Click on that. And the build I'm currently doing, if you guys are wondering, is for someone. So I already have all the parts picked out based off of this whole system I've done for myself, where I go from the CPU to the motherboard. That's how I picked everything for the build. I'll show you guys the build parts through the videos. So just wait for the upcoming videos if you guys want to know what parts I have. And let's start. Alright, right here it says number of memory slots, 4 by 240 pin. That means that you can have 4 sticks of RAM, each having 240 pins. Standard memory. This is the types of RAM it can handle. Once I get on the RAM, I'll explain that to you. And here's PCI Express. This is saying what it has in the speed, or if it has an extra one. Now, I prefer a ASUS 2GB MSI and EVGA or EVGA motherboards. Now, after you pick the socket type, they also have a selection right here. I find this important most of the time if you have difference from Core to Pentium and whatnot. So let's click on Core i7/i5/i3 because that's the motherboard we're gonna find compatibility towards. And down here, PCI Express. If you're only having one graphics card, you know you're not expanding, just find one with just one. But if you guys know you're expanding, make sure you have 2. I mean, you don't have to necessarily limit yourself to 1 if you're only having 1 video card, but if you know you're gonna have more, at least have 2 or even 3. It just depends on how many things you're planning to put onto that motherboard. This is ridiculous. I don't know why it's doing this to me. Normally I have 30 megabits per second download, but that's fine. I mean, that speed shouldn't hinder. It's definitely website load. Now, let's just say this one right here. It looks interesting, and we might like it. So, the thing with picking out parts is you have to look at the parts, maybe reviews. Just make sure you like it, and don't always trust reviews. I mean, I've even picked ones that, yes, they're experiencing problems. I figured as much. Right when I'm trying to do a video. That's fine though. I can explain everything to you guys. At least. Alright, so, like I was saying. Pick the CPU. Pick the motherboard. In the motherboard section, if you scroll down a little bit, you'll be able to find something that says details right here. Details. Once you scroll down, maximum memory 16 gigabytes, 2 sticks of RAM by 240 pin, standard DDR3. That means that it can handle 2 sticks of 8 gigabytes RAM. That's DDR3. Now this also says expansion slots 3.0 x16. It can definitely handle one x16 video card, And down here, SATA 3 gigabits per second. Those are fine for if your hard drive says like SATA 3 gigabits per second. But if you buy anything like more than one item with 6 gigabits per second, you see how this says 1? You're going to want to find a different motherboard if you want to max out the full potential. Now you also want to look at how many USB ports, depending on how many USB peripherals you'll have. Video outputs if you're not planning to get a graphics card. Now down here, form factor. Micro ATX, in my opinion, these things kind of heat up. I recommend ATX or bigger. I'm running an eATX in my Asus Maximus IV that I'm using right now. Second of all, look at the power pin. ATX 24 pin. You're gonna need a power supply that says 24 pin or 20 plus 4. And while you're selecting these products, what I do is I add it to a wish list and then edit it while I go. Once you have the motherboard, you can look for a case or anything in the order I talked about. So let's look at cases. Let's say we actually are going with that motherboard for some reason. Wow, upload speed's higher than normal, that's good. Let's let this load. Alright. Now, with cases, you don't have to go and spend. I mean, I like these. I know someone with one of these. These are heavy duty and everything. I myself have a Cooler Master half 932. You don't have to go all out on the case. I mean, it holds your computer. If you want something that looks cool, go for it. But make sure that you put the money evenly and buy something that you like. Now, that was ATX, right? ATX form factor, as they'll call it. With the cases, look for something you like. I prefer Cooler Master or Thermaltake, of course, but it's all your choice. Even these Antex are good. Rosewill, a little cheaper, it's still good. See, reviews. I mean, they can't fake that many reviews. You know this is decent at least. Now, if you have a case that says ATX or ATX L ATX, those are gonna have mini ATX. You can tell. The most common kind of computer cases will have to be mid towers. I have a full tower. I like full towers, but mid towers. Now, right here, you can look through this. Power supply. No, you're going to have to buy another power supply. I recommend buying a separate power supply unless you get something like a Corsair and it comes with a good Corsair power supply. But I recommend buying separate power supplies. Now, side panel, it has that drive bays. Those are important if you want to run, let's say a disk drive. You need at least one external drive bay. Now, let's say you want to run 2 internal hard drives. You need at least 2 internal hard drives bays. Right here, 3 3x5s. That means that it's gonna fit 3 3x5 drive hard drives in there. You can get adapters if you want to fit a smaller drive than those big ones. Then external, those are right here. Those are for your your disk drives, your fan controllers and whatnot. Now, once you figure out what kind of case it is, you need to click on details. Right here, motherboard compatibility. Micro ATX. It works with that motherboard. It's a good deal. Now, you want to look at the fan. Make sure it has a fan if you don't want to buy extra fans, but it's all optional. You can replace those fans. Weight, if you guys care about the weight. Warranty is a good thing to look at for all of the parts. I mean, 3 years limited, that's good. I mean, that most likely covers manufacturer defects, like if when you get it something's wrong, like it's been in for some reason and stuff. That should cover it, or Newegg should cover it, because it's a product and you didn't do it, or as far as they know you didn't. Next thing you want to look at is ports. Most of the time a lot of people actually want to have front ports because they don't want to wire everything into the back. Good enough case. Wow, the back looks pretty nice. Or is that the front? No, the front looks nice. It's just that's when it's lit up. Oh, sweet. Alright. Now after cases, let's look at video cards. Also, if this extends, right now I'm at 15 minutes, if this extends into the next video, and I just like start it off randomly or end it randomly, I apologize for that. I don't know when it's gonna make me like cut it off, so if I like started in the video like right now, just right in, I apologize for that, but watch part 1 and 2 in order and it shouldn't confuse you too much. Now, video cards. That motherboard had a 3.0 x16 if I'm right. Click on that. That's the latest kind of PCI Express lane there is, and that will really maximize your what's it called, performance. Now, I like brands from EVGA to MSI, ASUS, Gigabyte, XFX. You got Power Color, Sapphire, Zotac, PNY. Those are all good. Don't worry about it too much. I myself am an AMD chipset fan for this part though. NVIDIA, it's fine. I just, for some odd reason, like AMD more. Okay. Now, you guys, if you guys can afford it, I recommend 1 gigabyte and 256-bit, or 2 gigabytes and 128-bit, or a combination of either 2 gigabyte and 128-bit, or 1 gigabyte and 256-bit. But either way, at least that's what I recommend. Now, if you guys know you guys are gonna have like high definition copyright protection stuff playing, you're gonna want a card that has this so you can actually output it. Otherwise, you're gonna like plug in a TV and it's gonna be like, nope, you can't play it. But that's just a side note so you guys know. Now, you guys, if you guys are worrying about speed, just compare clock cores and the stream processors right here. The higher everything is, the better. You guys should know that. Now, in terms of these cards, because we selected that already, we all only have to look at how much RAM it has on it, how many bits, stream processors, core clock, effective memory clock, and cooling. If you're not planning to do aftermarket cooling like water cooling, try and get something with a fan. Don't just go for one of like the little fanless ones or like a small fan. Try and get something with reliable cooling and good performance if you guys are actually going through with this. Now, it's all preference from here on out with video cards. I'm not going to select one in sakes of time. I'm going to go on to SSDs and hard drives. Hard drives. Everything's pretty much SATA now. You're not going to find an IDE ribbon cable in most of these computers anymore. Internal SSD, try and get one that's good. Don't get a crap one that might fail on you. Just go for something good. I'm using Mushkin right now, but you're gonna want to search for one that has like SATA 6 gigabits per second if your computer has that, and use this for operating system. So you're gonna want one at least 60 gigabytes storage, and you'll be fine for a Windows system. Now, OCZ is good, you know, Samsung is good, Intel is good, Crucial is good, Corsair, SanDisk, Kingston. I mean, most of these brands you'll find, they're good. Now, all you have to do is worry about memory size, SATA 3, the gigabits, and form factor. Just make sure it's compatible. Look what form factor you have, how many drives you have. You guys have to do some thinking, but it'll turn out great in the end. Next, look at the memory size, at least 60 gigabytes is my recommendation, then speed. That's really all I worry about, and what you should really worry about. You shouldn't worry about anything too much beyond those lines. Now, these drives. You'll want to look for something with 59,000, 72,000 RPMs. I found that the speed of these don't really matter that much in my opinion. It's really just transfer speed afterwards, like SATA 6 gigabits per second, even SATA 3 gigabits, it's just fine. I'm running Seagate one right now. I have a 1.5 terabyte, I believe, but these are going to be for your data storage, and as long as you have enough memory, if you know you're not storing much, go for what you know you're going to need. you can always add more in the future if your motherboard can handle it, or you can always copy all the data over onto a bigger one and just use a bigger one from there on. But this one's the same. Look at the size, memory, speed, and that's really all you have to worry about. Once you have all of those, you can look at keyboards and mice. I mean, that's self-explanatory. Just look at them. Look at your motherboard. If it has USB, you're fine for the USB keyboard or mouse. Then it's up to you to pick which one you like. CD, DVD burners. It's gonna be a SATA burner. I recommend getting a burner in case you ever need to burn, because burners can also read, and they're about the same price. I'm not even kidding, same price, really, pretty much, unless it's a Blu-ray, that's gonna cost more. But in terms of keyboard, mice, DVD burners, you guys can worry about that just by looking through. It's nothing hard to do. I'm sure you guys could even run to Walmart and pick up a keyboard for like 20 bucks, no problem. DVD burner, pick one off this website. It's not hard either. Now, after that, it's on to memory, which is the RAM. You're gonna want something. Honestly, I found that after you pick out DDR3, I found that the speed of the RAM depends on how much your motherboard can handle, but it doesn't change too much. I found that it doesn't change too much, at least. Then you're gonna want to look at this. It's gonna be the number of RAM sticks to how many gigabytes are on a RAM stick. So if you're planning to run something like a 16 gigabyte configuration, that motherboard said we only have 2 slots. You're gonna want this. 2 slots by 8 gigabytes. Why would you do 4 slots by 4 gigabytes if you don't have 4 slots? Go with the one, and don't go over. The motherboard said 32 gigabytes. Don't go over that. You're not gonna be able to use the rest, because your motherboard said it can't handle it. Now, once you pick the RAM, it's really all up to how many sticks of RAM you have, and like brand, if you guys really care about brand that much. I mean, Corsair, Kingston, Crucial, G-Skill, Patriot. I'm using Patriot right now. PNY, Mushkin. Those are all good brands. Just look at the reviews. I think Corsair is a pretty popular brand right now because they've been making these Vengeance are the cool new stainless steel covered ones. I don't remember what they're called. But just look at how many sticks there are, what's on it, and that's really all you should worry about. These latencies, voltage and stuff, it's not really, or timing, don't worry about that too much. It shouldn't affect you guys. And basically that's it. Now in terms of a monitor, I might be redoing my monitor review. I already unboxed it. I'll just show you guys an unboxing. But in terms of the review, I'm gonna probably redo that and post it as a new episode. Alright guys? LCD monitors. Pick your size. 20 to 27 is pretty common. 24 is very common for gamers. So let's go into the 24 section. No, I'm not crazy. I just had nothing to say. Alright, manufacturers. I really found that manufacturers don't matter much. That contrast ratio, companies measure it differently. These like 100 million to 1. If you compare that to maybe like, I don't know, 5 million to 1, chances are it might the 5 million could be better. It's just they measure it differently. With monitors, just worry about pricing, screen size, response time. From 2 to 5 milliseconds is good. The lower the better. Now you might care about backlighting. This one is LED backlit, and inputs. DVDs, DVI and DVD sub. That's VGA and DVI. That means it doesn't have HDMI, as it doesn't say so. After that, you might want to worry about tiltability, if it can tilt, and speakers. But it's all preference. Building a computer is almost all preference. After that, you can add stuff on sound cards. Same thing applies like video cards. Just look at the inputs, outputs of it, and what PCI slot has. And that's pretty much it, guys. Just, if you guys want me to check one of your configurations out, I'll be happy to do so. But other than that, it's preference and compatibility. You guys worry about that, you're set. If it fits your budget, go ahead and buy it now if you want. Unless you know there's a sale on that certain part coming up, buy it now. Prices might go down, might go up, but new things come out all the time. The fact that you're waiting, yes, you're gonna get something new, but you won't be able to use it for that long. I recommend just buying it now. If you need something new in the future, you can wait those 2 generations and buy the next one if you want. But don't just think that you have to constantly have the newest, fastest thing out there. Oh, maybe it's like 0.1 gigahertz faster. What difference does that make? Unless you're actually into competitive computer building, it's not going to be much of a problem. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching this. I hope this fits in one video. If it didn't and it split, I apologize for that. But please remember, like, comment, rate it, subscribe if you want. Otherwise, don't just like thumbs down this video. Just leave it to yourself. I can handle the constructive criticism, but if you guys really don't have anything good to say, just keep it to yourself. And thanks for spending your time to actually watch the end of this video. Thanks for everyone who's watched this. I'm going to continue this series on and slowly upload it. I appreciate all your support, and everyone who's followed me, thanks for following me so far. I'll be sure to try and get these videos uploaded as fast as I can. But other than that, have a nice day everyone, have a nice night. It's Friday, so have a nice Friday, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks everyone.